What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Elevate Preset System. My name is Michael Anthony, and today I am going to walk you through our newest Lightroom tools that can help speed up and create consistency in your workflow and imagery. In these video courses, I'm going to first teach you about how to install your presets, and then I'm going to teach you how to use them to get the best results on your images. I'm also going to show you how to use the retouching brushes to really bring your images to life. I recommend that you watch all of these videos, and I have included all of the raw files in this course for you to practice alongside me. This course will also serve as a question and answer form, so if you have any questions about how to use the presets, please feel free to drop them down below in the comments. Without further ado, let's jump into Lightroom. Real quick, before we get into the preset packs and how to install them and use them, I want to show you a couple things in regards to camera profiles. These presets are designed to be used with the camera profile of your choice. Now, there are other presets out there that will include camera profiles to help unify color amongst the cameras. However, Adobe's built-in platform does this already, and they do it pretty well. Now, the only thing that I recommend doing, if you guys are using a camera, you're typically doing it because you like the color that comes out of it. Now, Adobe's standard camera profile will actually change the color that comes out of your camera in order to better unify it across multiple different cameras if you're shooting with something like a Nikon and a Sony. That way the colors match when you get them into post-production. So because most of us only shoot with one camera brand, I recommend switching over Adobe's stock preset of Adobe Color to your camera's profile. And the way to do that is you're going to come up here to your preferences and you're going to hit presets, and then under raw defaults, master, you would hit camera settings. So out of camera or stock Lightroom comes like this, Adobe default, and you hit camera settings. So I'm going to show you the difference here real quick. So I'm going to hit Adobe default for a second. I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm just going to, you'll see right now I'm at camera standard. If I hit reset, now it gives me Adobe's preset, right? But if I come back here to file and I hit preferences, I can change this back to camera preset, hit OK, hit reset again, and then it's going to bring me back to my camera's preset. Now, this was shot with a Canon 5D Mark IV. I absolutely love the colors that come out of both Canon and Fuji cameras, which are the two cameras that I use. So I like to keep the camera profiles the way that they are. Now, if you are shooting multiple different cameras, one of the things you can do is make custom profiles for your camera using a color checker passport. And I'm going to make another video in the future showing you guys how to do that. However, I highly recommend just using the one that comes out of your camera, as most of us like the color, unless you're a Sony user, right? I do have some Sony images here, and I'm not a huge fan of those particular profiles. So in that case, I'll use Adobe's built-in profile, which does a pretty good job at making it look good. So now that we know all that, let's get into the panel. Let me show you guys how to install your presets. In the latest Lightroom update, the installation of the presets got a lot more easier than it used to be. So all we have to do is come over here to our presets panel in the develop module, and we're going to click this little plus button right here, and then we're going to click import presets. Then all we have to do is navigate to the folder that our presets are in, and all we have to do is we have to highlight them like this and then hit import. It's going to give me an error message because mine are already imported, but yours are not. So go ahead and do that, and you will be able to import all of your presets here. The next thing I want to show you how to do is how to import your retouching brushes. So all you're going to do here is you're going to go to edit and then preferences. And when that pops up here under the presets tab, you're just going to go ahead and click show all other Lightroom presets. And that's going to pull up your Adobe folder. Find the Lightroom one right here. You're going to click that. And then you're going to find the folder that says local adjustment presets. You're going to enter that, and you're going to drop the unzipped folder into this particular folder. And I'm actually going to drop that in there as well too. We're going to drop that into here, unzipped. Then all we have to do is we just have to restart Lightroom. So it's going to go ahead and restart Lightroom. So now once we are back into Lightroom after it restarted, we can go ahead and hit one of our adjustment tools up here, and you'll see that all of your adjustment brushes are in here. Now guys, as time goes on, we are going to be adding to this retouching toolkit. These are the basic ones that I've been using as I develop this, but as I update both the presets and the retouching tools, they will be available for you to download here on this website. All right, so now what I want to do now is I'm going to show you guys how to use these presets. So these, the color pack here, these are our basic presets. These are our looks or our styles, if you will. And then the workflow modifiers are going to allow you to modify things that the base presets set, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what these presets do on individual images. So on this particular photo, you have a couple of different options. I'm going to walk you through all the presets, show you what they do, and then I'm going to show you how to apply them best on individual images. So the crisp preset, this is kind of our import preset for all of the work in our studio. And it's usually what I start off with if I don't want a stylized look, but I just want a very simple look. And what it does is I'm going to click this and apply it for a second. It's going to give us a little bit more exposure on our tone curve, and then it's going to go ahead and give us a little bit more dynamic range, and it's going to give us a couple of minor adjustments in the color and so on and so forth. This is a great preset to apply if you just need to get a basic look. The pop preset, this is going to basically take all the colors in your image and it's going to accentuate them, right? So once we do that, you'll notice that the greens in this dress just kind of like pop off the scene, right? So if we go here and we see that the differences between them, you can really see it in the greens. Now, the pop preset works really well when you have strong colors like greens, reds, or blues in an image. This image doesn't have a lot of those, but that is what that is used for mainly, and I'll show you guys some images in a few minutes, right? Filmish, this is going to give us a film type look. Now, on an image like this, it's not going to give us the best look right out of camera, but what we would do is we would adjust exposure here and our white balance if we wanted that film look. But what this really does well is it works well when we are working with a high amount of greens in a scene. Impact is good for HDR type images, or if you're trying to take an environmental portrait, this is kind of my go-to, and this saturates your colors, but it also will add a lot of dynamic range to your scene as well too. It's not good for an image like this, but again, I'll show you in a little bit what it works best on. Art matte is a stylized matte look. Sun is a very good look for images that have a lot of sun flare or backlight, which is the particular case here, and this is probably the preset that I would use. Warm fade is a stylized look, and if you guys notice the degradation right here, this is because the Lightroom here is set to edit on smart previews. So to get rid of that, just click in like this, let it load, build the preview up, and you zoom out and you can see what it looks like. Platinum gives us warm desaturated tones. Emma is going to give us a cooler, darker, kind of moodier film type look, which actually works really well in this image as well too. And then Flora is going to give us a more saturated film look as well, without modifying colors as much as the Filmish preset does. So in this image, I'm going to go ahead and click the Sun preset, and then what you'll notice is coming from our straight out of camera to this, the Sun preset will brighten up some of those highlights in an image. And we do that, you can see the tone curve that we have here. So now there's a couple things that we can do. If you guys look over here on our workflow presets, detail modifiers is going to adjust things like sharpening, clarity, grain, noise, texture, and it's going to do all of that without affecting everything else in the preset itself. Quick curves will override the tone curve in this particular image. So if we look here, you can see we can basically fix this portion by adjusting the tone curve. Now, I will caution you that in most of these presets, the tone curve is really what gives it the look, right? So you're basically overriding that tone curve to create your own custom look, and you can place your own custom look into a user folder that you can make your own presets out of. The tone modifiers are going to adjust things like exposure, contrast, highlight recovery, stuff like that. So in this particular image, the one thing I do want to do is I want to recover some of those highlights. So you can see here, all I have to do is hit highlight recovery down, and it's going to recover the highlights here and also in the bottom right here, and you can see before what that looks like, right, and then after. The last thing I want to do here is I want to show you guys how to use some of the retouching toolkit. Now, if we look up here, you have different tools. You have your brush, which allows you to manually brush on an effect, your radial filter, which will apply that effect in a circle either on the inside or the outside, and then you have your graduated filter, which will give you kind of a line that will apply it in a graduated line across an image. In this particular image, let's go ahead and grab our radial filter because I want to create a little vignette around her. Now, going through the different brushes, you have a brighten exposure brush, which is going to brighten your exposure, darken exposure, which will darken it. Then you have dodge and burn. And these are different from these two because dodge and burn for portraits are designed to be used to retouch portraits. So it's really good if you want to retouch or add highlights to a person's skin or shadows to a person's skin. That's what these two brushes are designed for. Eye whitening, I'll show you in a little bit, works really well to whiten the sclera of the eyes. Eye pop, we have two different kinds. We have one for dark eyes and one for light eyes right here. And that's just gonna make those eyes really pop when you are using the retouching tools that we provide you here in Lightroom. Skin softener, which we'll use in a second here, it will actually soften the skin. It works really well to preserve texture while softening up the skin. Sun flare allows you to add sun flare. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Teeth whitening, self-explanatory. The sky enhancer works really well if you have cloudy or blue skies, and what it's going to do is really going to increase the depth in your scene without, again, having to get into Photoshop. Really like to stay out of Photoshop if we can. HDR details works whenever you have texture in a scene, something like this right here. Although I don't like using it on foliage, I really do like using it on things like rocks or structure in the background. That will bring those details out, and that's what this does. Highlight recovery is like what I just showed you over here, but it allows you to selectively apply it to parts, and I use this a lot on wedding dresses. Enhanced clothing, well, again, it's very similar to HDR, the details, but it has some modifications to it to really make it work well with things like clothing, especially with wedding dresses. Hair highlights allows you to brighten up parts of the hair. Lips allows you to bring detail out and color of the lips. Selective sharpening is how I usually finish all of my images. I'll go ahead and sharpen around the eyes, and then warm the skin tones will allow you to warm some skin tones or correct skin tones that have color cast to them. On this image, all I'm gonna do is hit my skin softener. Now with the skin softener brush, okay, you can, I'm gonna zoom in, I'm gonna show you this real quick. You can apply this kind of overall throughout the entire image, right? And it doesn't affect some of the fine details. It's really designed to be used quickly, and that is in contrast to the way you would typically retouch skin in Photoshop, which is going to be more deliberate. With this tool, you can apply this over the overall scene, and it will preserve details, allowing you to quickly brush over a subject's skin, soften it up a little bit, and move on to the next one. This is a great tool to use if you guys are working your entire workflow through Lightroom. So now once I have that, I'm gonna just put it on her body right here too. I'm going to now go and create a radial filter, and I'm gonna use my darken exposure because I'm not dodging and burning the face. I'm only using this to adjust light levels throughout the entire image. So I'm gonna draw this right around her, just like that. And then the only thing you would have